Since its initial inception and announcement, the Xbox Kinect has always been something that has left a lot of gamers scratching their heads. And while definitively the Xbox Kinect was never the big revolution in motion gaming that Xbox initially wanted it to become, to this day Microsoft is still utilizing Kinect technology and expanding, releasing new versions of Kinect. But how did we even get here to begin with? This is the evolution of the Xbox Kinect. When the Xbox 360 initially launched in 2005, they had the added benefit of releasing one whole year before their competitors, the PlayStation 3 and Nintendo Wii, would officially release. And in the months following the release of the Xbox 360, the Nintendo Wii had actually gained quite a bit of buzz because of the motion control, and a lot of people were really excited to purchase this new console the following holiday season. And for Xbox, it seemed like the writing was on the wall that the Nintendo Wii would be hugely successful amongst its release. And even though Xbox was facing against two major releases in 2006 for consoles, Xbox still had one thing up their sleeve to possibly try to get a slight leg up on features that their console provided. And thus Microsoft's endeavor with a camera peripheral for the Xbox was born. The Xbox Live Vision released in 2006 and featured video and picture capabilities that would potentially allow you to video chat with friends and send pictures if you had Xbox Live Gold. The camera had 640 by 480 resolution, allowing video calls up to 30 frames per second, and a whopping 1.6 megapixels for taking pictures. And while this was initially conceived for video chat capabilities, of course Xbox had the idea of some sort of in-game integration also in mind, which was already something that PlayStation had done in the past with the iToy, and clearly Nintendo would be capitalizing in a slightly different sense using motion capture controllers. Over 70 games were actually compatible with Xbox Live Vision, whether it was for choosing a picture for your Rainbow Six Vegas profile, or you were scanning your face in for some sort of EA Sports game, to even using live video chat while playing games like Uno, which was for better or worse. And the cool thing about the Xbox Live Vision was that it was also compatible with other platforms including Windows XP, Windows Vista and Windows 7, Mac OS X, and PlayStation 3, surprisingly. And while this peripheral was used by some, it never really caught on and wasn't nearly as successful as other peripherals that the Xbox 360 had to offer. And honestly, after the release of the Nintendo Wii, both Sony and Microsoft had to really come up with some way to compete directly with the large success of motion-controlled games that Nintendo had capitalized on. And in 2009, Microsoft officially made their announcement of Project Natal, which would later turn into the Kinect. Project Natal was aimed to not only be an initiative to introduce Kinect as new hardware, but also as a midpoint for the Xbox 360's life and an overall rebranding moment that would bring the Xbox 360 into the next decade, while also reinvigorating new fans into picking up the Xbox 360, as this would be an option or an opportunity to convince players that this was a brand new experience. Alongside the Kinect announcement, Microsoft revealed that they would be doing a full rebrand and remodel of the Xbox 360 to match the design of the Kinect. And while the Kinect was still functionable on older systems, Microsoft and Xbox went really hard with promoting the Kinect and selling it bundled with the new redesigned Xbox 360. The Kinect was especially different from the Xbox Live Vision because this time the device would utilize infrared vision and depth mapping to make more accurate feedback when either gaming or using hand gestures, and there would be a ton of games released for the Xbox 360 exclusively playable on Kinect, or a lot of games also would have Kinect integrations as an optional feature. But ultimately, while Xbox did the best they could and funded a ton of money into marketing and promotion for the Kinect, it never really caught on too well after its initial release, and part of which was probably because the games that had released with it were seen as either simple mini games that you would play for a short amount of time and then give up on, or apart from a larger franchise that seemed to have a ton of features completely stripped back in favor of doing the motion control, like Fable: The Journey. Also, the built-in Kinect microphone was not really good, and players who had Kinect microphones would really have the most annoying microphones in any video game lobby if if you played the Xbox 360 back in the Kinect days. It always sounded like you could hear whoever was playing the game breathing while also hearing the person in the next room over cooking and doing the dishes simultaneously. However, even though maybe it didn't catch on to gamers as well as they had initially hoped, Microsoft was still really optimistic with the Kinect and its future for not only Xbox but for other platforms as well. In 2012, Microsoft released a Kinect for Windows, which was its own $250 version of the Kinect, except just a year prior you were able to use your 360 Kinect on Windows, and for the most part this version of the Kinect didn't really do too well other than developers using it, and the support for this actually was discontinued in 2013 to make room for the Xbox One Kinect, which would be the next biggest thing. Yeah, 2013 wasn't really a great year for Xbox with handling the next generation of consoles. First, the Xbox One was announced, which in itself was a head scratcher because Xbox One was the third Xbox to be made, and the whole purpose of naming it the Xbox One was it was supposed to be the all-in-one console for your entertainment needs. The Xbox One was listed as $100 more than the PlayStation 4, which would also release that year, would require all owners to purchase a Kinect with their Xbox when buying the console, and in general the announcement of the Xbox One came across as very anti-gamer friendly and less of what a gaming experience or gaming hardware should probably be advertised as. And of course, mind you, the first Kinect had already released and already had this iffy reputation because it wasn't nearly as gaming centric as maybe Xbox had made it out to be in the earlier days of the announcements. And the fact that the Kinect had only come out just a few years prior made a lot of fans feel kind of disappointed with the fact that they were expected to purchase a brand new Kinect since there would be no backwards compatibility with 360 version. Still, the Kinect 2 released with the Xbox One, and outside of people trolling each other, yelling commands into other people's Kinects, it never really latched on too well, and Microsoft quickly dropped the bundle requiring people to buy both Xbox Ones and Kinects together, and slowly removed a lot of the Kinect integration, which was a core part of the Xbox One's interface back on its release. And in 2014, Windows released their own version of the Xbox One Kinect for PC users. However, this was discontinued just 1 year after its initial release. And honestly, to this day, Xbox is still trying to recuperate from the massive negative PR that was associated with the Kinect and it being a part of the Xbox One at launch in 2013. The Kinect was a huge part of the initial failure that the Xbox One had, and it was considered a huge market failure and major miscalculation. Had Microsoft maybe sold a version without the Kinect for $100 or $150 less, it might have had an actual chance to compete against the PlayStation 4. And if you bought an Xbox One back in the day, there weren't really any Kinect games coming out that fans were even interested in trying, and honestly, Microsoft just kind of dropped the ball with that, especially with the other criticism associated with the Xbox One in the large size of the Xbox One. Seriously, the original consoles were like larger than VCRs, and having to stack a Kinect that was about double the size of the Xbox 360 on top of it just seemed a bit excessive by 2013 standards. And finally, in 2017, Microsoft announced that they would be discontinuing the Kinect, and honestly, a ton of people, myself included, thought that this would be it for the Kinect brand, and that there would never be anything else beyond the Xbox Kinect and what they had tried to release and failed miserably with. But Microsoft surprises us again, where in 2019, they announced that they would be reviving the Kinect brand once again. Earlier this year, Microsoft announced that the new Kinect Azure would release and would not be focused this time on gaming, but would take a lot of the tech specifications and technology that they had developed over the years and apply them to different industries. The new Kinect Azure would have integration in the new HoloLens 2 and have an open development that would allow engineers to develop different types of softwares using the technology that Kinect really is capable of utilizing, whether it's from robotics, logistics, or healthcare. And considering how Microsoft revealed HoloLens a few years ago, and while a ton of people thought it was kind of cool technology but not really the preferred platform to play Minecraft on, I think a ton of people understood that that technology could be so beneficial in so many other mediums outside of gaming. And maybe Microsoft finally has a better understanding about that, and that's why they want to bring both HoloLens technology and Kinect technology and apply it in different ways to help people useful in different areas rather than using it as a gaming peripheral. The Azure Kinect was released in June of 2019 and currently runs upwards of $400, but even to this day, the Kinect software that was used initially for identifying and tracking players was still later transferred into other mediums on the Windows portfolio of programs, including Windows 10, as a lot of computers that use face recognition still use some level of the code that was originally written for the Kinect back in the day. And while the Kinect as a gaming peripheral definitely was a colossal failure, there's no denying that there are a ton of uses that probably could benefit a ton of people if Microsoft just puts it in the right place and stops trying to shove it down gamers' throats. So here's to hoping that the Xbox Scarlett does not have Kinect integration in one way or another. But what did you guys think of the Kinect? Were you a fan of it? Personally, I had Sonic Free Riders, and that was a miserable experience, but we definitely love to know what you guys thought. If you like all things Xbox, retrospectives, and more, make sure you subscribe to Rocket Sloth because we cover this a ton on this channel, from things like controller evolutions to just great games that we're passionate about. But anyways, that is it for today. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.